cons. Just make sure you get everything like you want it.
Well, hello there again, race fans. On tap for the second race in today's doubleheader. We are live here from Daytona for the last race that we will be holding here at Daytona in the Bridge to Cup series, as it's been a 3-race residency with these guys at the track. And so today we'll be running the road course layout of Daytona. So it should be hopefully a pretty good race. We'll get to see a little bit more variety in what the drivers are capable of pulling off here, with another facet of talent being tested. And so on the front row, none other than Jack Davis alongside Cannon Gage to start up here. Then we've got Dave Steele Jr. and Rich Roy in the second row. Gannon Bird and John Hagan. Roach and David Bird, Ryan Little and Bradley Ream, Luis Rodriguez and Santi Messi, Kyle Ottawa and Kyler Sustre, Lucas Holmes and the 65 of Anheuser Walkner, Craig Bush and AJ Kosnoff, GP Luxembourg and Alan Malcolm, Asiel Escobar and Krista Cower, Kevin Xavier and Braden Hunt, Adam Starr and Chasey Plays, Scott Speed and Andrew Moger, Noah Hobson and Kat Durham. Then at the very back, you've got the 90 of Jamie Horseman starting alongside Paul Ladino.
Gentlemen, start your engines!
So obviously with this Bridge to Cup series, we've seen variety. We saw Noah Hobson get his first career win here last week at Daytona Superspeedway. And just a couple weeks ago, we saw the likes of John Hagan win the first ever Rallycross event in our series. And now with the road course, and perhaps maybe next season, I was considering this, we can maybe even go to the Daytona Beach track that they have in the game. Make them races in the sands on the beach around Daytona. That would be pretty cool, actually. Pace car is going to pull off here in just a moment as they get ready to start the race here on the road course circuit around Daytona. Green flag waving, and Jack Davis with a bit of an advantage on that start there. Almost looked like Cannon Gage might have been sleeping on the light. They go into turn one. Jack Davis, they're 3 wide behind them for third. Cannon Gage struggling a little bit here, as he's dropping like a rock right now. So this is where that drone cam is going to come in handy, because there's so many angles around this track that camera work just cannot capture. And see, Cannon Gage started from the front row, and he's dropped all the way back to 7th here just in the initial start. Jack Davis off to the early lead over the 46 there of Gannon Bird. This is going to be the corner to keep our eyes on right here. These guys seem to struggle going through that turn in particular. Made it through. Everyone made it through cleanly on that first lap, so no chaos striking there. Going into the bus stop, Jack Davis still with the lead over Gannon Bird and Dave Steele Jr. Got to imagine that the skill set that we saw on display at the Rallycross track, there's going to be some similarities between who's good at the Rallycross and who's good at the road course, I believe. So if the Rallycross was any indication, I assume we'll see a good run here from John Hagan. Dave Steele Jr. had a great start to the season at the Rallycross event and had a bit of a rough patch at the Superspeedway. So he's hoping here to make up the difference on a road course here and try to get back into the points battle. And Bridge Cup's going to be different than most of the other series we do. There will be a bracket championship at the end of the year. And basically your highest seed will face your lowest seed in each round. Number 1 will face off against number 32, 2 against 31, 3 against 30, and so on. And each week, whoever survives to the next round, if it's the 16th seed and the first seed that survive, then they might be the two matching up in round number 2. So like a glorified March Madness, but the bracket will be a little bit harder depending on where you seed yourself. So things have kind of strung out single file here. Jack Davis with a demanding lead right now over Gannon Bird. Dave Steele Jr. in third. You can see all three of them in the same camera shot here. As the beach in the infield you can see very vividly. There we go. Gannon Bird closing that gap now. Jack Davis better be careful that he doesn't get under attack by the 46. He's running that Dick Trickle, or rather Cole Trickle, inspired number 46 Chevy's City Chevrolet paint scheme. So very Days of Thunder-esque look on that 46. Very fitting being the number 46 and everything. He's caught right up to the back bumper of Davis there. This could be an interesting battle. Jack Davis has the fastest lap so far in this race, but I think we might have a contender with the front of the field here. Yeah, actually fast lap that time went to Gannon Bird. So Gannon Bird, actually even before that it was behind them, it's Dave Steele with fastest lap on that lap. So Davis off to the early lead, but it looks like he's going to have to play safety here and try to protect the battle of charge of the drivers behind him. Got Roach in fourth, which is an impressive start here in the race. Ryan Little, Luis Rodriguez, Cannon Gage, Rich Roy, Lucas Holmes with the top 10 runs so far, as well as John Hagan sitting there in 10th. Kyler Sustre, David Bird, Bradley Ream, GP Luxembourg, Craig Bush, Santi Messi, Kyle Ottawa, and then Osiel Escobar, Scott Speed. Last week's winner, Noah Hobson, having a little bit of a rough one here at the road course. AJ Kosnoff, Krista Cower, Anheuser Walkner, Alan Malcolm, Jamie Horseman, Braden Hunt, Paul Ladino, Andrew Moger, Chasey Plays, ouch, Kevin Xavier all the way back in 30th of 32. Kat Durham in 31st. And the 27 of Adam Starr 1 lap down, so he must have had to have made an unscheduled pit stop to drop 1 lap off the pace. Lead staying pretty consistent here as Jack Davis really ain't able to drive away from Bird and Steele. They're running nearly 2-minute long laps around this road course. Dave Steele is your fastest car on track right now, so keep an eye out on him. Still got a decent gap to close there, but a 155.0. He's just short of putting down a 154.9 on the track here today. Oh, Adam Starr is halted on pit road, so let's double check to see if maybe there's a mechanical failure from the 27. Yeah, very strong damage to the engine, 95% engine failure there. That's pretty much a nail in the coffin. Finish his day off. Especially only 28 laps around the road course. This one will be done pretty rapidly. So the way it's looking, we might have 3 different winners in 3 races contested here in the Bridge to Cup series, as Noah Hobson deep in the field. Let's see, the 22 of Hobson currently running 20th. So he got lucky with the Superspeedway, the 375-mile event last race that he ran to get a win. Never truly considered, just purely luck, as he still earned it, fought for it, and got it. And then you've got John Hagan, who's running about 10th, but I don't think you're going to gain much on the leaders here today unless you get cautions and restarts that'll help move you up through the field. It's impressive that Jack Davis has held the lead as long as he has so far. He's shown a little bit of lapse and speed here. Heck, his last lap was his fastest lap, but it wasn't anywhere near the fast lap that was turned by the competitors behind him. That lap was fast yet again too, so a 155.5 to a 155.4. Jack Davis perhaps opening up the speed later through the race to try and drive away with it. So yeah, after tonight's doubleheader, it'll be a brief hiatus until we get back into racing in a couple weeks' time. The next race on the schedule would be the trucks at North Wilkesboro on February 27th. And then Bridge to Cup, we won't even come back until March at this point. So the Speed Weeks at Daytona comes to a close, and we have nearly a month off. 3 weeks, a little bit, actually at this point today, a whole month roughly, until March 7th rolls around that they'll hit Boise. But next week, we'll be off, no racing action until the 27th with the USA Trucks Eastern Division at North Wilkesboro. And then the Sylvania Cup Series will hit North Wilkesboro on Leap Day, February 29th. So and then there's pretty much racing every week through the month of March. Bridge to Cup, you'll have 4 races in March. The Truck Series, you'll have 3 races in March. And the Cup Series, you'll have 3 races in March. So mostly did not want to compete against Daytona 500 week, as most people likely be following the duels, qualifying, all that stuff Tuesday, Thursday, and then Sunday, of course. And so today will be our last race for a couple weeks. So thank you everyone that's been tuning in periodically throughout the month of January and February so far. It's been exciting getting back and rolling. We've managed to get about 12 subscribers in 12 days through February, so thank you. It's been fun. So Jack Davis really is stinking up the show now. I think finding an extra gear wasn't showing what he had. He just turned an even faster lap at a 155.215, and those behind him turning 155.5s. See if he's faster again this lap. He is really laying it down. Turned to 155.5, so he finally had a slow lap there. And Gannon Bird with a 155.4. Dave Steele with a 155.2. So if they can somehow find an opening, they'll start to catch Jack Davis and make this interesting. You've got Dodge leading over Cadillac, over Subaru. Then you got Hyundai, Mazda, and another Dodge, another Cadillac, Audi, Dodge, Hyundai, Audi, Mazda, BMW. Both BMW teammates running basically nose to tail here. Craig Busch in the Dodge, another Audi, Challenger there. Dodge Challenger there of Osiel Escobar running in 18th. Scott Speed in the BMW running 19th. And then Krista Cower in the Subaru running 20th. Honda, we've got the highest running Honda right now in 21st of AJ Kosnoff. They continue to roll through the field here. Pretty standard road course fare so far. Had 1 retirement, the 27 of Adam Starr, who suffered a mechanical failure early in the race here today. But so far, Jack Davis stinking up the show. Holy cow. I'm pretty sure we're not going to see any form of pit stops with it being only a 100-mile race, but could be surprised here. We might actually see 1 round of pit stops in this race, and who knows if it'll be with like 8 laps to go or where it's going to fall. It's going to be the only case that we might have for a shakeup in the running order, as if we actually have pit stops here today. The race is just on the edge of short without any pit stops, but also right at the cusp of these guys might be running out of gas on the last lap kind of thing too. So me too. I hope they don't pit on the last lap. That would be a big bummer. So far, still caution free in the early running here. Fastest lap has now, but it's up to David Burt now, who's in the number 13, deeper in the field. See what his fast lap was. He's running in 13th, turned a 155.019. And then went next lap and turned a 156.8. So that's quite the spread there, going a whole second, nearly 2 seconds slower on the lap that followed it. Hagen's still running in the top 10 here. Impressive run there from Holmes. Lucas Holmes in the top 10, running 9th. Rich Roy running 8th. Cannon Gage in 7th. Roach in the top 5. And our lead 3 still. Dave Steele needs to find a way to make some moves here. It's hard to pass at the road course. Jack Davis does know victory lane here in NASCAR competition. Actually, in his second ever start in the USA Trucks, found victory in the Truck Series and could potentially become one of those drivers fighting to get a win in all 3 steps of the series. Very few people can actually claim victory here in Bridge to Cup, as once they graduate into the Cup Series, they ultimately get kind of locked out of this Bridge to Cup competition. Now that doesn't necessarily, it means they could if they fail to perform in the Cup Series, get brought back down here to Bridge to Cup. We haven't seen that yet, but there's always the possibility there. most of the series between the trucks and Bridge to Cup in their infancy. We haven't seen that many people that get relegated backwards to a series yet. So Roach 4th, Ryan Little 5th, Luis Rodriguez 6th, Cannon Gage 7th. David Bird still running in 13th with the number 13. Osiel is in 21st. Looks like losing a spot to Krista Cower there. Krista trying as hard as she can to make up some spots. Oh, wow. Osiel got a little bit loose there. That was pretty chaotic looking ride for the number 8. We'll go back just a little bit and watch that. Maybe watch it from the drone cam here too. Yeah, and just recovers there pretty quickly. Hobson around the outside might take the position away. Yep. Hobson now up to 21st. That puts Osiel back to 22nd. We're starting to see the tires wear off on a couple of these cars out here as they are getting loose coming off the exit of turns throughout the many turns on this road course. Wow. Jack Davis still just flying out front here. It's crazy to watch where they gain and where they lose on track. It looked like Gannon Bird just gained a truckload of momentum going into turn 1 there. But through the technical part, it seems like Jack Davis starts to stretch it back out. So there's different segments on this track that drivers have figured out better than others. And it's very evident when you can watch them side by side trying to catch each other. And we're almost halfway through this race, roughly 30 minutes in. Looking like we've only got about 30 minutes to go here. Both today's doubleheader events have been pretty quick, pretty to the point. I feel like we are going to have some pit stops here at Daytona. It's going to be really close. And we might start seeing pit stops with about 7 or 8 laps to go here. Somewhere south of 20, lap 20 at least. Gannon Bird still really close in that back mirror of the 09 car. See if he makes up the same amount of momentum that he did this last lap going into turn 1. He really did close the gap again. He's got a line figured out going through turn 1 there. And he's starting to catch that 09. Make that 09 sweat just a little bit. And for Gannon Bird, he's just hoping to force a mistake on the 09 of Jack Davis. The more that he rides close in that back view mirror, the more likely the 09 is going to make a mistake going through one of these turns. This truly is setting up to be at least a good finish for the lead 3 here. Wow, there's a big gap that the 09's growing on the backstretch here, making up a lot of time going into the bus stop. They drive right to the very edge of the track limits here, making sure to get as much speed as they can going through the entire course. The 09 stretching it out here as Gannon Bird's struggling to keep pace with the 09 on this lap in particular. Going into the front stretch here, Gannon Bird fighting back. Now across the start-finish line, Gannon Bird's going to have an opportunity to do what he does each lap and close that gap back up on the 09. Going into turn 1, dive bomb move from the 46. Puts him within 1 car length of the 09. The 09 has not put a wheel wrong yet. Has not managed to make many mistakes here. Running order has changed up a little bit. It looks like John Hagan lost a spot, dropping back to 11th. That puts Kyler Sustre up to 10th, right behind his teammate Rich Roy. The rest looks to be, other than Ryan Little, who moves up to 4th, that bumps Roach back to 5th. And the 19 of Bradley Ream making up some spots. He's in 12th. I don't think he's been that high yet today. Or at least it seems like he's made up some spots. The 13 of David Bird still running in 13th. And all but 1 car still left running out there. 31 contestants. With one of the largest gaps that we've seen in competition so far early in the season. From 1st to 31st is a 28-second gap. We just got past halfway here. We've got about 13 laps remaining. Soon to be 12. Jack Davis has led every lap so far. Front row was Jack Davis and Cannon Gage. Cannon Gage struggled on the initial start and dropped all the way back to 7th, and that's where he's held it so far. In 7th place, hoping for a caution or maybe something to help work his way back through the field. Matthew Fastnaught's team here, the 09 of Jack Davis, looking very strong. You know for a fact when you got Fastnaut Racing Enterprises out there that you've got good equipment. Jack Davis kind of hit the lottery there, earning himself a seat in the 09. We had a draft style pick'em for the drivers in the Bridge to Cup series, so obviously Matthew Fastnaut saw what talent there was in the young racer here of Jack Davis, picked him up, and maybe the rest is history as we look at it right here on track, leading the way. Led 16 laps strong so far. I guess we can always check too to see what NR says for the pit strategy if we go to garage here. Pit window 28 laps. So that's not what most of us wanted to hear. Is it's going to be right to the very window the entirety of this race. So people are either going to be running out of gas on the last lap or making pit stops with just 1 lap to go. If the AI were smart, they would pit at around lap 25 and avoid running out of gas on the last lap, but Knowing the AI in this game, they'll probably try to run it till it runs empty. So you got to start thinking about that too now, is the fact that Jack Davis has been out front leading all these laps. How much gas is he burning through? Is the drivers behind him that have been putting fast laps down, are we seeing them actually start to conserve fuel here? The likes of Gannon Bird, who was closing up on the back bumper of the 09, and now he's starting to kind of let the 09 get away from him. So perhaps Gannon Bird saving fuel, Dave Steele saving some of that fuel. Perhaps one of the reasons why Roach dropped a spot is fuel saving. So truly it's going to be an interesting turn of events if the strategy actually kicks into high gear here on who's saving fuel and who's not. David Bird trying to fight with the 19 of Bradley Ream for position. Goes a little bit high there in that turn. Lose a little bit of momentum. Still fastest lap belonging to David Bird so far. So ultimately, this race, it's far from over. 11 laps, but pit strategy, fuel mileage, we're gonna have to be keeping an eye on that the whole way to the finish. I fear for Jack Davis that he's using up way too much of his fuel out front. Wow, that was a little bit chaotic there through that turn. You could see David Bird and Bradley Ream getting all out of sorts. And now we might have a potential battle brewing here for second, as Dave Steele Jr. has closed that gap up on Gannon Bird just a little bit. It's very intriguing to see the parity that we've got going here too, as you've got Dodge leading the way, Cadillac running in second, Subaru running third, Mazda running fourth, Hyundai running fifth. So nearly most of our different manufacturers all span through the top 5 right now. Now we're down to 9 laps left to go around the Daytona Road Course circuit here. They're running the same layout as the guys that did the 24 Hours of Daytona just a couple weeks ago. Dave Steele just going balls to the wall there to try and catch up with Gannon Bird. Might have lost a little bit of trajectory on the gaining of positions there. Gannon Bird starting to drive away from the 35. So yes, thanks guys for tuning in. Sorry it's on a Monday and early on a Monday. If you're just tuning in and hadn't heard in the last couple the last stream in the last couple hours that I've been streaming and whatnot, that I won't be available for this week to run them on Tuesday and Thursday as normal. So hence the double header on a Monday morning. This will get us all caught back up, and everything else should run as scheduled going forward. So I know it's going to be a little bit hard because we're going to have almost 2 and 3 weeks off for a lot of our series action. It was nice to get things going. It'll give us some time to maybe get upgrades rolling throughout the series. 2-3 week period for people to simply research and develop their cars and get better on the track. So after today, I'm sure there's some teams out there in Bridge to Cup that are going to be looking at improving the power behind the wheels. The 09 looks like it's slowed up a little bit. I don't know what that was all about. It looks slow going down the front stretch. Perhaps just optical illusion, but 8 laps remaining now. And this is going to be where we keep our eyes very closely on who's coming down pit road, who's staying out. This has definitely been fun starting the Bridge to Cup season all throughout Daytona. And I would like to add on a 4th Daytona perhaps next season with the beach. It would be cool to run on the beach of Daytona. It's impressive that we've actually got tracks that have 3 different styles of layouts that we can test the true racing prowess of all these drivers. We've seen 3 completely different races so far, with the Rallycross race having quite a few different leaders at the field. The Superspeedway, of course, we saw a lot of lead changes, but kind of different people leading at the front of the field. And then here today, different people yet again showing they've got what it takes to be a road course ringer, perhaps. These 3 kind of broke away from the rest of the field, and they're the star of the show here today. It'd be nice if they did a Daytona-thon in real life, if they actually had a cup race at the Superspeedway, maybe even build a temporary short track on the front stretch or something, that they could host a short track race at Daytona and do the road course even. That's the only thing so far I think that we're missing, is a short track here at Daytona. It'd be cool if they actually used this road course layout that we're racing on right here and maybe created a little short, flat, you know, maybe half-mile racetrack that they could contest on. Yeah, Daytona-thon way outweighs Toyota-thon. No Toyotas in this Bridge to Cup series. It kind of came together in a wonky way, and I apologize to all the T-motors involved that we had to. Next season, I'm hoping to make it a little bit more unified, maybe less wonky per se, so that you don't have to say a Toyota team owner is forced to pick anything but a Toyota. I know that we were trying to focus on Rallycross style manufacturers, but think about it, Toyota has its roots, or it's got ties to off-road racing and rally style racing, so maybe next season we'll just leave it no holds barred. If someone wants to bring their team in and be a Toyota, we'll keep it as a Toyota team out there. But if someone wants to keep there might be advantages that a Subaru has, and someone that's part of the Dodge or Ford or Toyota camp wants to switch over to Subaru for Bridge to Cup, they can do that, just because it might have an edge at certain forms of racing that the other manufacturers don't have. So, but we got what we got for this season, and we'll make the best of what we've got here. Obviously, there are ties such as Toyota to Mazda that people can make a connection there, so that if you are a Toyota team Cup and truck, Mazda makes the most sense when you come to this Bridge to Cup side. So far, not a whole lot of drama at the front of the field here. Do another quick check through the rest of the field to see if there's been much change. Looks like Ryan Little still in 4th, Roach still in 5th, Luis Rodriguez in 6th, Cannon Gage still in 7th, Lucas Holmes in 8th. Then Rich Roy moves up to 9th, Tyler Sestre in 10th. John Hagan still settled in 11th there. David Bird drops a couple spots. He drops from 13th back to 15th, but we don't know if that's maybe a fuel saving strategy or what, as some of these drivers might be trying to save fuel and not make a pit stop on the last lap, where some drivers might have to make a pit stop within those final 2 laps. But mostly looks like the same running order throughout the field there. It's definitely going to shake up the point standings after today. Imagine the Prius racing on a rallycross track. That would be funny. Yeah, we could make some cursed paint schemes if we wanted to. Throw out there a Prius on a race car body, or no. Maybe we'll save that for a joke series or something, but that would be the only other thing that if I'm missing on something, would be doing like a joke series where we go race it at Bone Crusher, race figure 8 dirt track, or like the hilly Talladega where they've got big ginormous hills on the backstretch where the cars go flying through the air. I don't know the best the approach to doing something like that, but it could be something that someone does with a you know, it'd be entertaining to watch. Which is kind of why this Bridge to Cup series came together the way it did. Rallycross racing, road courses, super speedways, speedways, short tracks, dirt tracks, you name it. That's the appeal to the series, is having such a large span, a large style of racing that keeps it fresh, keeps it interesting for everyone that tunes in. Oh, and here we go. Green flag pit stops here on lap 23. Going on to 24. So our lead 3 making their pit stops now. This is where we're going to have to see if someone else tries to push the envelope here. Roach pitting, Rodriguez. Man, everyone looks like they're pitting. So they kind of didn't want to push the envelope here on strategy. I don't think we're going to have anyone staying out trying to sneak one out here. 21 of Ryan Little. He pitted earlier than everyone. He's going to stay out after he made his pit stop already. Just quick gas and go. See how many spots he gains. He's racing there with Roach for, I think, a top 5. That would have been about where he was running in 4th right now. As the other lead 3 already rejoined the track. Now we've got a caution. As to why, I don't know yet. But this could set us up for a green-white checkered finish here today. I don't even think I need to do... Yeah, I'm going to implement the green-white checkers just to be on the safe side here. So why do we have a caution, I wonder? Oh, the 29 of Rich Roy must have had a hard time getting off pit road here. Maybe getting onto pit road. Oh, the 51 of Cannon Gage just gets launched. Both these drivers coming off pit road at the same time here. 51 and him. That doesn't happen very often. And unfortunately for 2 drivers in the top 10, that'll put an end to their day. So at least we'll get a restart here. Cannon Gage is unfortunately probably going to drop all the way back to about 29th here to finish the day after finishing the day on his roof. But that's just a clipping error. That's what we would call netcode in iRacing right there. As they're both in the same spot on track, but the game does not register until too late to where they both take up the same physical space on the racetrack. he got sent to the Shadow Realm. So a restart is really going to change up the whole race here at the end of the day. Jack Davis has been able to dominate so far, but I think it's going to be who's got the better final restart of the race here. And with green-white checkers enabled, we might even have multiple attempts at this final restart. So it'll probably be at least another lap under caution here before we get restarted. But if you're just now tuning in or if missed anything, you haven't missed a whole lot. Jack Davis has dominated from the front of the field all day. Our front row was that of Matthew Fastnaught and Cannon Gage, 1-2. Cannon Gage unfortunately started to drop backwards on the initial start of the race, and we were under caution here for Cannon Gage basically getting blasted off pit road by the 29 of Rich Roy. So we get our one caution here in the race for what likely will be one restart here at the end. Our first attempt at a green-white checkered. I'm scared to even try to remove a pace lap. We've had problems with that before, so I do believe the lights will turn off on the pace car halfway around the track here, because they should be getting go back green this time by. Won't see it until about halfway through the lap, the lights turning off on the pace car. So, who's up front? We've got Jack Davis, followed by Gannon Bird, Dave Steele Jr., Ryan Little, Roach in the top 5. Then you've got Luis Rodriguez, Lucas Holmes, John Hagan, Bradley Ream, and Kyler Sustre rounding out your top 10. 11th is GP Luxembourg. 12th is David Bird, Scott Speed, Santi Messi, Craig Bush, Kyle Ottawa, AJ Kosnoff, Krista Cower, and the 1 of Alan Malcolm, and the 65 of Anheuser Walkner rounding out your top 20. Then in 21st, it's Osiel Escobar, Braden Hunt, last week's winner around the Superspeedway here, the 22 of Noah Hobson, the 10 of Kevin Xavier, the 94 of Paul Ladino, the 6 of Kat Durham, the 90 of Jamie Horseman, the 78 of Andrew Moger, and the 49 of Chasey Plays. Off the racetrack is the 51 of Cannon Gage, the 29 of Rich Roy, and also retired from the race is the 27 of Adam Starr. Lights are off on the pace car. We'll be getting back to green here. And it's going to be a frantic. If we get another caution, we will get multiple attempts at a green-white checker here. Everyone did just come off pit road, so they should have full fuel, fresh tires. And basically it's like hitting the reset button here, because it's going to be a one-lap shootout for the win here today. After Jack Davis has dominated, leading every lap so far. But you might just kiss that victory goodbye if he can't get a good restart. I think the one to keep your eyes out on will be that 35 of Dave Steele Jr. He's shown that he's faster than these two in front of him. Ryan Little, kind of a surprise one there, but we've seen just how good the Walker family of racing is with Trevor Walker, and this will be Jordan Walker's team, Jaw Drop Motorsports. So perhaps the 21 makes it 2 for 2 today, as we saw. Well, actually not 2 for 2, because Trevor Walker ended up getting beat by Trevor Vaden in the trucks earlier today. Oh, and that is, wow, what a wonky way to restart. Luckily there was no collision there. But Dave Steele is going to have a large gap between him and the 09. Gannon Bird gets a great restart there. And it's just a matter of who gets through turn 1 unscathed. Gannon Bird on the outside, Dave Steele on the inside. Gannon Bird has to let off the throttle here, and it's Jack Davis back to the front. Up to third is Roach, impressive, making the most of this final restart. And the 19 of Bradley Ream, who was sitting as far back as 10th today, he's up to 4th right now, fighting with Gannon Bird for position. Give him 5th as he slots in right there behind him. But now the race is on at the front of the field. Dave Steele is going to have to find his way around the 09. which is no easy task as we've seen today. That 09 has been very tough to pass, a lot like Ryan Newman. Hagan back up into the top 10. David Bird sitting up to 12th now. Looks like Osiel Escobar might be in the top 20 as they come back around for what will be the white flag lap this time by. As they get all around the grass and everything there. What a chaotic turn there for these guys. But the battle still remains. This is a very lively one at the front of the field here, as Dave Steele Jr. just needs to find an opening. He's hounding that 09 just a little bit on the front stretch here. White flag waving in the air. He's got at least a couple opportunities to make it happen here. Nice thing about it being a road course race, there's a lot of real estate to make the move and make it count. I'm going to mind his P's and Q's for now. Looks like he gets a little bit loose going through that turn. That allows Jack Davis to stretch the gap a little bit. Roach and Gannon Bird, 3rd, 4th, 5th, the 19 of Bradley Ream. And unless I'm mistaken, I'm pretty sure Better Cautions works that the race will end under white here if we get another wreck. We won't get a green-white checkered reset since they took the white flag. So, man, Jack Davis has just been the star of the show here today. Looks like a little bit of redemption from the 375 around the Superspeedway just a week ago, where actually his Rallycross race was very terrible, where he ended up on his roof flipping. I believe that was a wreck involved with Osiel Escobar on the Rallycross race. So redemption is going to be sweet here. Just got a couple more corners to pull it off. Dave Steele knows that this could be a huge boost in the ratings to get him a win here today. So we'll see just how hard he wants to push it going through the last set of turns here. Dave Steele right back on the bumper yet again. But I don't think we're going to see a change for the lead here, as Jack Davis puts on a clinic, leading every lap here today, taking the checkered at the Daytona Road Course. Impressive run for Jack Davis. That gives Matthew Fastnot Racing Enterprises a win here in Bridge to Cup. Keeps that 09 relevant in this series and is going to make things very interesting for the point standings, as Jack Davis was deep in the point standings. He's going to have to gain a lot more points to try and fight for the overall position going forward here. But I think our candidate for potential points leader is going to have to be Dave Steele Jr. here. I believe it was a second that he got at the Rallycross and a second here today. The Superspeedway in the middle there was not kind to him, but the rest of the drivers that he's competing up against also had some bad races sprinkled in there. So a pair of seconds should be enough. We'll have to wait and see as the points get tallied. But Dave Steele Jr. should be your new points leader after tonight. Roach with a solid third had really just sat in the back at about the top 10 area and comes in for a podium finish here today. Gannon Bird had a car to contend for the win here, just came up a little bit short. Fourth is definitely a great day for that 46 team, given Pop Chris Grand Prix Racing great result here. Bradley Ream, I think, had about a about a top 20 car at one point in this race, and that final restart was all he needed to get up into the top 5. Great day for that 19 team. It'll make team owner Atlee Weiss very proud. GP Luxembourg actually finished 9th. He passed a couple people here under the cool down lap. Ryan Little with a 6th. Luis Rodriguez with a 7th. Lucas Holmes with an 8th. And of course Luxembourg with that 9th. And to round out our top 10 was John Hagan for JSR, bringing home a 10th place finish for the Hyundai. So that is that. We finish up our residency here in Daytona, and next week we'll be going over to a short track, which will be fun, I think, in Idaho. So Boise. It's a new track I've never raced before. I believe it's a track possibly built by Sign-On. I'd have to do my research. I don't 100% remember, but should be a fun track. Shows how much I know about it so far, but we will be seeing some short track action next on the schedule. Congratulations to Jack Davis. I'm sure they will find out after the fact on the server that they won this race here today. Not a very active participant, but perhaps a win will get them enticed to join back in, so that'll be cool. Short track shenanigans for sure. Yeah, we're going to do heats, as the best product I've found with short tracks is to make the fields a little bit smaller. I mean, not like super small, but at least small enough that you have, you know, everyone finish on the lead lap. So it's going to be a little bit different style of racing than what we've had the first couple. It'll be a little bit more like Rallycross, but on a short track, basically. And but yeah, should be a good race. Hopefully, it'll be a couple weeks out. We're gonna be on a brief hiatus here, but I'm excited. We got the season started. All the super speedways are behind us, so now the real racing can begin. Most definitely. Yeah, because even like I won't even be able to use the better yellow, because the yellow better cautions usually crashes any of the races that I've hosted on short tracks, I've noticed. So I have to stick with the game's standard single file, lap down, restarts, and all that. So I like short tracks, but at the same time, they are the most flawed when it comes to AI racing in NR2003. So huge congrats to Jack Davis, actually an all-star winner in our series. Was an all-star winner, I believe, in the trucks, with a truck all-star event that we hosted. And so now trying to stamp his name on his way through into possibly Cup with a good run here today. So that is a wrap for today. It's kind of a frantic double header that we had there. Great racing action. I love that new Fontana track that I found. It'll definitely be the track I use when we go to Fontana with the Cup Series. So I'll go ahead and get some of the point standings and results posted on the server. And I think I'm going to wait till about 3:30, give people at least maybe 3:45, those that couldn't watch it, a chance to watch one or the other if they want to, so that spoilers, I'm not spoiling it for them. So thanks again, everyone. Glad you could tune in. Have a safe weekend. Safe week, rather. It's the end of the weekend. Safe week. And we'll see you in a couple weeks' time for the next couple races that we have scheduled. So peace out, everyone. This is Jakester, signing out.